Hi, everybody, and welcome to Quillpen's Quips Knitting and More podcast. This is episode 4. I am Betsy, and we are filming today. I'm filming today very early on Monday morning, and my kids are here with my husband. They're having breakfast in the other room, so you will probably hear some little chatter and maybe calling for mom, because I think he would rather be in here watching me do a podcast than sitting there eating breakfast. But that's how our morning is going, and I'll explain a little bit about why I'm doing it so early instead of during nap time towards the end of the podcast. But we had someone new join the Ravelry group this week, or between the last podcast, and so I want to give a shout out to Origami Moon, who is Kendra, and Kendra is another one of my friends that I met through our local knitting group, and I am just really thankful again that there's another one of my friends that's joining alongside and supporting me by joining the group and participating in some of the chatter and discussions, and I just really love that. So welcome, Kendra, and welcome back to any returning viewers. Thanks for coming back. And if you're a brand new viewer, thanks for checking me out. Today will probably be a little bit of a shorter podcast, hopefully. I'm on a little bit of a time crunch today, so I want to sort of show you all my stuff and talk to you a little bit, but I'm going to try not to drag it out too long. I'm going to try to stick to the schedule. But so welcome. This is a podcast about knitting and more, and doing all the fiber things while being a mom to 2 little boys with baby number 3 on the way, and doing that all here in Southwest Virginia where I live. So let's get started. I have 3 finished objects to show you. I actually finished 4 things since the last podcast, but one was a gift and I've already given it away. But I might be able to show a picture. We'll see. Anyways, I think last podcast I had finished one of my espresso macchiato socks. These are from the Coffee with CC book that CC from Java Pearl Designs and Geeky Girls Knits published. And so these are her espresso macchiato socks. And I made these in the Turtle Pearl striped turtle toes yarn in the Dream Room colorway, and that comes in 2 little skeins so that they're perfectly matched. Not that I really care about having perfectly matched socks. I don't think I ever wear perfectly matched socks normally, and only just grab 2 socks from the sock drawer, and if they match, great. If they don't, fashion statement. But so these are the espresso macchiato socks, and I really love them, and they're a really cute pattern, easy to do, and they're super fun. Then I'm working through Vegan Jilly from the Knitting Broomstick podcast. On Ravelry, she's Vegan Jilly. She's doing a Coffee with CC Cal this year, where you finish every pattern in this book during this calendar year. So that's 6 pairs of socks and 1 shawl that you need to have done by the end of December. And I just found her maybe in July, I think. And so I'm a little late to the game, but I'm catching up because I make shorty socks all the time, and they go pretty fast for my small little feet. So next I made her peppermint mocha socks, and it's this cute sort of slip stitch pattern to look like the peppermint sticks, the stripes on the peppermint sticks, and I just love it. And I made this out of leftover yarn in my stash from Kismet Fiberworks Soul, which they are no longer in business. But the red is the Michigan Cherry colorway and the green is the T-Rex. And so I didn't have enough of one color to do both socks, so I decided to switch it up and make them alternating with the toe, heel, and cuff, which I had never done before. I've never done an alternating toe, heel, and cuff. So that was new and different, and I think it was a little rough because it was my first time, but that I'd get better if I do it more. So I thought that was fun. So those are the peppermint mocha. Also, the peppermint mochas are my favorite holiday beverage. Pretty much once the weather gets cold and starts to feel a little bit more like winter, I start ordering peppermint mochas, and so I think that the fact that they're in holiday colors fits my life. And then finally, I have the caramel latte, and I'm gonna try to. It's kind of hard to see the cool table design that she has because I did variegated yarn. But this sock yarn said caramel latte to me. I don't know. I just felt like it fit. And this is Plymouth Yarn Happy Feet 100 Splash in their autumn colorway, which is perfect for caramel lattes. So these were really fun. I think these were ones that my husband, once I got them knitted up, he thought he might like. So he's still waiting to see all the ones that I make up before he decides which ones he wants me to make for him. So that's that. The fourth finished object I have was a Top This hat. Have you guys seen that yarn? I'm sure it was super popular not too long ago with the little animal or something on the top, and then it's just striped yarn that kind of stripes itself as you go down, and it has different textures as it goes. And so that was, I made a lot before. I made one for my oldest son with an elephant. I made one with a giraffe for my younger son. And I made some for our friends, sort of for Christmas presents and stuff. So it's been a good go-to gift for young friends when I need a quick sort of last minute gift. And in this case, we had a birthday party for a little girl recently, and she was turning 2. And I'm a little unsure about the whole shopping for girls thing, and I was a little hesitant, but then I found I had the snowflake one, so it's kind of purple and white with a little bit of pink and blue in there too, and so it's much more girly than my boys would like, and it had a cute little snowflake on the top. So I knit that up real fast. It was really cute, and so I think it was going to be a fun gift for her. I hope she likes it. So that was my fourth finished object, was the Top This hat in the snowflake yarn. You will probably see more Top This hats coming up soon because when I made that, I then got on Amazon to look at different options for the Top This yarn, and I might have gone a little overboard in selecting some new ones for my stash for potential gifts or whatnot, but or football season coming up too. They had some cute football team ones, so Top This might be coming up. So that's what I finished, and it's kind of funny because with these 3 pairs of socks, that makes 5 pairs of socks that I have finished this month, in the month of August, which is so funny because I always said I would never ever make socks, and now I'm making lots and lots of socks. So that's fun. It's always fun to finally try new things and discover that you actually like them. So then what is on my needles right now, I have in my Virginia Knits yarn crawl tote bag. I think this is actually from 2 years ago, but mostly because I needed a bigger bag to put everything that I needed. So this is the Elfie sweater. I don't even think oh yes, I have a picture for you. That is what it looks like. That's what the pattern looks like. Sorry, I've got a shadow going on. Like I said, it's very early in the morning, so I've got some funny shadows coming in. But that's the sweater. Cute little short sleeve striped sweater. Fingering weight yarn. It's all stackinette, so it's just knitting. And let me see. It's a little hard to show you because it's on the It's on the needles. But this is sort of where I'm at. My stitch markers mark my sleeves. And then this will not be a rolled cuff. It will block out. So then you can see that that's how far I've gotten. I started this on Saturday and it's Monday morning. So that's how far I've gotten. So it's going really fast. It's going much faster than I thought. I figured it would take me about 7 to 8. No, it would take me 3 to 4 weeks because I've discovered that it takes me about half, as a monogamous knitter, it takes me about half the time to do a project as I see other people do that are also working on multiple projects at once. So when I went through Ravelry on the Elfie page, like saw all the finished projects on the Elfie, the average seemed to be about 7 to 8 weeks for this. And so I'm thinking it'll take me about 3 to 4. But now that I see how much I got done, basically just a little bit on Saturday night and mostly Sunday, which was a day that I was pretty sick, I think it might be more like a 2 to 3 week project. But we'll see. I've got plenty of time. This is for my final UFO, so I have until the end of October to finish it. But I think it's going to go pretty fast. And I'm loving the colors. I'm loving how they're turning out. The white is my Cascade Heritage Silk. Ooh, big glare there, sorry. Cascade Heritage Silk in the white. I'm not exactly sure if there's a name for that colorway. I don't know. And then this blue is Malabrigo sock in the Carabino colorway. And I just love how they're turning out together. And then I have my needles in my Poke Me Not from Jan B. Smiley. I don't even think you're gonna be able to see. It's kind of a, her label is very clear, so I don't even know if you can see. It says Poke Me Not and then Jan B. Smiley, S-M-I-L-E-Y, on Etsy. And this is great for circular needles. You just stick them in here and it keeps them from poking your bag or poking into your work or the stitches falling off. This is a great little tool. She has a couple cute little Notion things like this. She also makes some really pretty project bags. A couple that I've got my eye on, especially she's got a new sweater sized project bag made out of the cutest fabric with little sweaters on it. And I love it. And I am eyeing it. And I might need to purchase that before it sells out. But the Poke Me Not from Jan B. Smiley, I love it. I got to meet her at a little knitting retreat I was on, and she sort of showed them around, and we got to all see it. And so that's kind of cool to know someone that you're purchasing from on Etsy and kind of knowing in the back of your mind who you're supporting. So if you want one, go support her on Etsy, Jan B. Smiley. And then what is coming up, I'm still sticking with this Coffee with CC Cal for my next few projects, I think, until the end of the year, except for unless I do some gifts or something in the middle. But next, I think, is going to be her coffee date shawl, which is this gigantic shawl, and it's gorgeous. And at our last unfinished object meeting, which was this past Saturday, someone had that as their finished object, and I got to see it in person, and the colors she chose were gorgeous, and it made me even more excited to make it. So I think that's going to be next, and I have my yarn for it. And I really wanted to go coffee colored. It's, you know, she's kind of saying how it doesn't really matter where you are. Coffee shops always seem to be cold, probably because they want you to buy more coffee. And so sometimes when you're going out with friends, you want a nice little shawl to wrap up in the cold coffee shop. So I really wanted to have a coffee-esque look to my shawl. Hers is bright fun colors, and that's cool too, and it looks great, but I wanted it to kind of say a little bit more coffee. So these are going to be my 3 colors. And she suggested if you're going to do a variegated to only do 1 of the 3 to be variegated. So I stuck with that. This one's a little tonal, but I think it'll be fine. And this one's pretty solid. So this is Unplanned Peacock in their kinky sock yarn in the kitty colorway. Kitty colorway, so maybe I should put it over here. Just some browns and golds and creams in there, and it's really pretty. Then this is Manos. I don't have, oh, here's the tag. I love Manos, and so the Allegra, Manos del Uruguay, the Allegra, and this is Zano, the Zano colorway. It's browns, and it does kind of go to some, it looks kind of blue here, but it's kind of gray. I mean, it's got a blue tint to it, but it's really more gray, so kind of browns and grays. And then the cream. This is Madeline Tosh Light, Twist Light in the Antler colorway. So that is next. The only thing that might come first, because this is a big project and it's going to take a little while, so I need to see how I feel after the Elfie. If the Elfie takes me a long time, do I need to split it up with a shorter project? In which case I will do her I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice socks in this Zauberball sock yarn. And this is just a number of a colorway, but it's very pumpkin-y, spicy to me. Lots of rich oranges and magentas, and it's just really pretty. It spoke to me. It looked like a little pumpkin sitting there. And so this is going to be the I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice, and it seems to take me about 4 to 5 days to do a pair of socks. This one might be a little longer because there's a little more of an intricate cable. But if I need a quick project before I commit to the bigger shawl, I might do these first. But that's what I'm looking at. So the finished socks, my Alfie sweater, the upcoming shawl and socks. That's what I've got off, on, and will be on my needles. So I think it's time to move on. All right, that brings us to what I am reading and watching right now. And I finished a wonderful book. This is not even fiction. I don't know. I mean, I guess I do read a lot of nonfiction. This is Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. I cannot recommend this enough. I am pretty sure that everyone around me is getting tired of me talking about this book, but it has seriously rocked my world, and I think everybody should read it. Everybody can benefit from this book. It is all about habits and how we approach habits, and because everybody wants to either make a new habit or a good habit, or they want to outgrow an old habit or a bad habit. And she approaches habits by way of 4 different tendencies that people fall into. You fall into one of these 4 generic, you're kind of mostly one. And based on how you react to outer expectations and inner expectations. So the things that you tell someone else you're going to do, or that someone else wants or expects you to do, versus the things you tell yourself you're going to do. Because some people respond really well to both. Some respond really well to outer expectations and don't do the things they tell themselves they're going to do. Some only do the things they're going to tell themselves to do and don't really care about other people's expectations unless there's a valid reason. And then some people resist both. And so not only does she describe the 4 tendencies that people fall into, but then she goes through different strategies for both building and outgrowing habits and gearing them towards your tendency and picking which ones based on what your tendency might respond well to. And there's just so many great things that I learned about myself, how I can change my habits and my scheduling to fit a tendency that is rather unique. No one around me that I know of yet, very like in my immediate family, has my tendency. So I respond to things very differently than everyone else. And for so long, I've tried to follow what other people do. Or if I find something that I'm successful at and someone else asks, how have you done that? I'll be like, this is how I did it. And then they can't match that because they're a different tendency. So now I also know how to respond to the people around me based on how they react to different habits. And so it's just been a really great read. I was underlining and taking notes and everything. So I highly recommend this book. I do highly recommend that you take the quiz on her website to determine your tendency before you read the book. That helps a lot as you're reading to recognize yourself in the different scenarios. So, Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin. I highly, highly recommend it. I'm also still reading Hamilton. I think I'm in the 4th chapter, the biography. I think I'm in chapter 4. He's come over to America, like he got his passage over to America now. He's trying to, I think he just got into college. Getting into college was a little bit of a ordeal for him. And so I think he's now he's doing classes and stuff, and he's trying to do it really fast because he's older, which is interesting. I didn't realize that his age is one of sort of the questionable things about him. They're not quite sure when he was born. He tends to gloss over his age depending on what he's trying to do. So that was interesting. So I think he's older than a lot of his college peers, and that's a big no-no. So he's trying to do it faster. But so that's where I am right now in his life, and it's fascinating. So if you're interested in the true life story behind Alexander Hamilton, I highly recommend that biography. I have misplaced my Castle book, my Richard Castle book, the last Nikki Heath book. I have misplaced it. How is this possible? I have a penguin bookmark in it. I love penguins. And I think probably because I love penguins, my 2-year-old loves penguins. And he loved that penguin bookmark. And he kept opening the book and taking out the bookmark and like taking it around or like bringing it to like, look, mommy. And I'm like, no, you lost my place. So I think I moved the book to keep him from finding it, to keep him from taking out the bookmark. But now I can't find it. So I'm on a hunt for my Richard Castle book. In the meantime, I have been catching up on A Travelogue of the Interior by Karen Debagian. I don't know if I'm saying that last name right. It's a total guess. Debagian. This was recommended by actually Cece of Java Pro Designs way back on a podcast. And it sort of takes you through the Psalms and in a real, raw, kind of gritty way, not a sort of, here's a psalm to make you feel better kind of way. So, but it's a little slow because I really want to commit to the writing prompts and the reading that she recommends and really kind of do it heartfelt. So it's taking me a little bit longer, but I still really love it. So I do recommend that too. And then our book club picked our book for the month of September, which is going to be The House of Mirth. This is a book that I read in college and wrote a paper on. Can you tell? So I have all of these notes randomly stuck in. I also have like random things highlighted and underlined and everything in there. So I'm excited to reread it without the pressure of a college paper looming over me. But I think it's also going to be fun to kind of go back and read all of my notes that I was taking at the time and sort of kind of remember how it affected me the first time as I read it again. So The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton is what our classic book club is reading this month. And in terms of watching, I'm still struggling to find a good show for just me during the days. I'm watching Inspector Morse. I think I'm in season 3 now. It's okay. It's very 80s, but it's not as good as like Murder, She Wrote 80s, and certainly not as good as, you know, Magnum PI 80s. And so he's just kind of I think like he's like a conglomeration of a lot of different inspectors that I've seen in other shows, and so I'm having a hard time seeing him as just who he is. Also, for a long time, he's an older single gentleman, Inspector Morse, and so he would kind of always get like romantically interested in these women during the episodes, and the woman that he was always interested in would end up either being the victim or the one who did it. I am very sorry about the sun that is making my face glow very angelically right now, but it would always be the victim or the person who did it. And so that kind of just narrowed it down. And every second he got remotely interested in someone, I'm like, well, there cuts out half the interesting part of the show. Because if she didn't die within the first, 15 minutes, then it's like, well, she must have done it. But they've changed it up a little bit now. They brought in a female medical examiner, which you know, threw a lot into the mix. So it's okay. It's fine for nap times, especially if I'm a little tired anyway and I'm just sitting there knitting, taking a break while the boys get a nap. It's fine. I'm still hoping to find something better. So still, if you have any suggestions. Unfortunately, a lot of the suggestions that people have been giving me have been so good that my husband wants to watch them too. So we are now together watching The Following, which is very intense and very good. I'm really liking it. It's kind of right up my alley because it's like a mental game plus a literature theme plus murder that you have to solve. And so it's I've liked it pretty well. We've also started watching Stranger Things. We got a couple recommendations of Stranger Things, and that was a little dark for me. It's very, again, it's an 80s feel, very ET-esque, with this kind of unknown monster that comes and does things. The first episode, like right away, was a little dark and intense, and I can't watch it right before bed because I'm very susceptible to nightmares and things before I go to sleep. So we decided we're still gonna watch it, or we're gonna give it a try, but we're gonna wait until more daytime times, like weekends. If we're home and the boys are taking out, we might watch that together instead when it's nice and cheerful and light outside and I don't have to be so worried about going to bed right afterwards. And then someone else recommended something that did actually sound really good. I can't remember the name now, but it's not on Netflix. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can watch it another way. Because like I've used up my free Acorn TV trial. But so we'll see. But so I'm still looking, but for now, Inspector Morse is working. So that is what I am reading and watching right now. What are you guys reading and watching? Let me know. Okay. You will notice that I shut the blinds. So hopefully that makes the glare less. It's certainly cooler in here. It's getting rather warm. So I apologize for all the glare before. I should have done that earlier. But hopefully that'll make it better for the signing section. But today, instead of teaching a few signs, I thought I would do sort of a chatter section. Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast, she has a blather section. Blather. And I've noticed a few podcasts have kind of a section where they just chat about what's going on in their lives that week or whatever. And I always enjoy those because it's kind of fun and you kind of get to know the person, because I feel like knitting podcasts are like a big knitting group here. Like all my knitting friends are sitting around me and we're chatting and we're knitting. Like I hope you have your knitting and are getting a few rows done while we're chatting. And you're chatting and you get to know each other, and it sort of makes it feel like a big knitting family. And that's what I love about podcasts, because I feel like I'm getting to know these people from all over that I would never meet and never be able to chat with in person. So I enjoy their sort of blather sections. So I thought today, and I won't do it every year, wrong sign, because I know that sometimes people do enjoy learning signs, but I also know that sometimes people like watching signs and getting to see signing happening in real time, real person, all of that. So today, and maybe every once in a while, I'll do sort of a blather section. We kind of catch you up on what's going on. So, and I feel like this week I have a lot going on. We are back to school. My husband, Andrew, is a school teacher. And so he went back 2 weeks ago for teacher work week. And then last week the kids went back. So he's been back for 2 weeks now, and it's been good. I'm always a little nervous when he goes back because the boys have had him home the whole summer and they love their dad. They're very attached to their dad. So I'm always a little nervous about how they're going to be. But every morning, Dublin has not cried when he leaves. He's just like, bye, Dad. And then he comes to me and he gets on his truck and he's like, work, bye, Mom. And he leaves for work for a few minutes and comes back. So it's been really actually enjoyable 2 weeks. In the mornings we tend to just play and hang out together, and that's been fun. And then the afternoons we normally go somewhere. I don't like to just sit at home all day. It's not my personality. I like to be out and about. So pretty much every afternoon we find something to do. Go shopping or errands or whatever. But it's been a good 2 weeks getting back into the new schedule, new start. It's been good. It's kind of helped me get a few things done around the house that sort of I left during the summer, because the new schedule just makes me more willing, I guess, to do things. So that's been good. We are not yet into basketball, so he still arrives home about 4 in the afternoon, which is nice. So I just have to make it till 4. So even if the boys are screaming and upset and not obeying or whatever, we just have to make it till 4, and then Daddy's home. But soon, I think in October, September starts practice, I think, and then October maybe games start. I forget exactly. We should find out the schedule soon. But so basketball will start soon. My husband is a coach, so that makes for long nights, long days. But we're not there yet. We still have a little bit of time. But today, the reason why I am recording so early this morning is because today Andrew and I have our ultrasound. It's this motion on the belly, for the new baby, to measure and everything and hopefully find out if it's a boy or a girl. So we have that this morning. So Andrew took a half day off of work, and so then soon we're gonna drop the boys off at my mom's and then go to the ultrasound and find out. So tonight or tomorrow morning, we will be announcing. We'll probably post it on Facebook and post it on Instagram. So if you're following me on Instagram, you should find out soon. Because my husband, Andrew, can't keep a secret. So we're going to tell pretty soon. Dublin still thinks it's a girl. I asked him this morning, do you think it's a boy or girl? And he said girl. And every time he has said girl. So we'll see if he's right. I think it's a girl. But I'm fine with a boy too. Maybe I'm just meant to be a boy mom, which is fine. We have had a lot of birthdays. What is up with all the birthdays? Like I said, we just had a birthday party for a 2-year-old friend. We have another 2-year-old birthday party next week. Now it's this weekend. For another 2-year-old friend. And my son Rome will be 1 in September. He's already almost 1. That's crazy. So that's all coming up in September. So we have a lot of fun birthday parties coming up. We also have some actual birthdays. Babies that are about to be born or have just been born. So that in our family and friends. So that's fun and exciting, and new little babies everywhere. So what's going on with you guys this month? Do you have a lot of birthday parties to go to? And just the new school year, there's always new things happening when school starts, I feel like, and as fall is approaching. So that's fun. So that's my signing section for today. Let me know what you think. And like I said, it won't be every time. But maybe every once in a while we'll do do a section where you can watch me signing instead of just me teaching you signs. We'll see. Let me know. All right, I think that's it for this week's podcast. Like I said, it's a little bit shorter. And you can always make sure you find me on social media. I am on Ravelry. I am Quillpen. There's also the Quillpen's Quips Knitting and More Ravelry group that you can join. And if you introduce yourself on the Introduce Yourself thread, I will give you a shout out on the next podcast. Tell your friends because I'm hoping to do a giveaway. I'm hoping to do it at 100 members. We might have to edit that depending on how long it takes to get to 100 members because I've already made one purchase for the giveaway and I'm super excited about it. And I can't wait to tell you all about it, but I can't tell you about it until we have the giveaway. So tell your friends, join the group. On Instagram, I'm Quillpen. There's also the Quillpen's Quips podcast Instagram group. I try to keep them separate, so if you follow me on both, you're not bombarded with the same posts all the time. But that way you can keep updated on when a new episode comes out. I'm pretty good about updating that. You can see some progress as I feel like because I'm a monogamous knitter, when I get to the next podcast, the object is finished. You either see like the very beginning or what's coming, and then it's finished, and you don't get to see a lot of progress shots. And so I try to put some of that on Instagram if you're interested in that. And then my website is www.quillpensquips.com. And there's blog posts, and then on some of those blog posts, you have the links to the show notes, certainly for this episode and previous episodes, as well as links to the episodes themselves that take you right to YouTube, where you can watch this episode and previous episodes whenever you want. And make sure that you click like and subscribe. I guess subscribe on YouTube, like on some of the other ones, so that you'll get notifications when a new episode is posted, and that way you don't miss out on anything. So I think that's it. We're gonna get ready to get out of here and go get to see little baby, which I'm very excited about. And I will see you next time. Have a good week.